All right. So, um, boom, 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 boom. All right. So I wrote one line of code while off stream, which is to make sure I didn't forget that because I thought of this off stream and went in and looked at the code and saw that I wrote this function and then never called it. Or did I? Maybe I'm bringing it here. No, right. That's the whole point. I'm calling array free, but I'm never freeing these. We'll push them into so how does this work? Copy logistics. Just trying to figure out who needs to free them and when. Logistics render from copy. Trigger logistics copy start. Does non-logistics interactions, copy logistics database. Logistics copy done. And now the renderer is the only one who's going to access it. But we guarantee that the renderer is in between these two. The renderer is waiting on logistics copy done. So the renderer can't be accessing it. And so we can, in fact, just do it in the same place. What happened to the pound error? Did I just delete it? No, oh, it's up here. Yeah. So right here, we want to go for I equals 0, I less than array len render copy. Free render pudgy chunk render copy I. Free render logic chunk volatile qualifiers. That is forcing it to reload every time. So even though it doesn't make very much difference. So without that, it should have been leaking a bunch of memory. But because these are all calling free, not I was calling obmalloc. I wasn't calling obmalloc. I was calling obg malloc. I was just calling malloc directly, so we weren't getting him in the profiler, so we would never have seen him in the profiler. So I should probably, just for the sake of it, since these should probably all be obg mallocs anyway, I think originally I was saying I'll do this some different way, do this some smarter allocation way, but I obviously haven't, so machine, cover belt. And then these take, what's the, it's just a string at the end, right? So what would this one be? Thread. Worker. We have the worker threads, and then we have the Logi thread. The workers aren't under the thread category, which is probably a bug. Logi belt. Logi copy belt. And then the other ones are here. That can also be belt, machine. Machine 2. Pickers. And then, I don't remember, does the free you have to pass in that? I think you don't. And then the whole thing was malloc. So now we should be able to see it getting leaked if we display that, which I don't remember what the key is to display it. It'll be in main somewhere. No, it's not main, because we just passed the keys to somebody else at this point. It's in UI. No, it's in main. It's in main somewhere. Ship memory. Oh, I guess it did get moved to UI. C, okay. Okay, there's stuff happening, so let's hit C. Whoops. Somebody claims their memory is getting overwritten. This was all working fine before I added these, as far as I know. I don't even know what the FIFI means. What's that? Oh, that's the memory that got freed. So somebody isn't calling OBBG free, I believe, is what that means. OBBG free. That's an array free. That all seems legit. OBBG malloc, OBBG free. Which, or somebody isn't calling OBBG malloc and I'm calling OBBG free, even though it's not an OBBG malloc. All right, let's just search for malloc. Nope, they're all OBBG mallocs in this file. Let's search for free in this file. Great. Here we OBBG free the Logi chunk, but it's a render Logi chunk. Here we free, instead of OBBG freeing, a Logi chunk. But it's a Logi chunk, not. Let's just get this to crash. And then we should be able to look at the, oh, M is bad. So we need the previous, which looks like that's P. Sorted ref. Tick sorted ref. What is a tick sorted ref? I think that's the topological sort, I would guess. So this one got corrupted. Achoo! Oh, that's an STB array, or no, ob array. Sorry, I was back from the mic. I don't even know what's on for today. I'm just trying to fix a bug that I left. I haven't decided what's actually the plan. I didn't expect this bug to be hard to fix. In fact, I already fixed it in theory, but I'm backtracking to then validate the fix and running into something else. So this may have nothing to do with the changes I already made. Maybe this was actually already broken. Maybe I made some other change that broke this stuff. So, where was this handled? At the end of logistics, somewhere in here. I don't even remember now. Yeah. Copy, render copy. Copy logistics, so here it is. So here we've turned off the new code. So the new code shouldn't be active, but this stuff used to be calling malloc, not OBG malloc. So let's put it back the way it was. So let's just do this. This is fine because it was never getting called anyway. P in here, not the P in here. P is bad. M is just dead. So this P looks like garbage. But its info has been overwritten, so we don't know what it was. So somebody somewhere is not doing this right or is overwriting memory or something, but we don't know who or where. And I don't know when the last time I had to run that display was. Let's take a look at OBG. All right, I can do this locally. Why am I going on to GitHub to do this? Git log. all the inventory UI stuff. All right, let's just use the machine to do this. What's the git stash command? Git stash. And then let's git checkout D8DB3BC. Build, run. Okay, nothing wrong with this one. Which one did I just do? Why can't I go backwards any further? Wait, did I just... Why is that at the top of my commit list? Oh, because I've checked... how do you get log into the future? Just want, there we go. DB something. Fix belt animation. It was run belt tick refactor. Need to fix animation bugs. Refactor belt tick, belt tick, belt tick. Okay, so I went back to here. So now let's go forward to here. 1, 2, 3, 8. Let's go to update to do 5ACFF. Oh, my ghost blocks. Yay. And no problem. And then render logistics from a copy. B8B905. This doesn't build. Pretty sure I had that before I went to the background thread. I got this working. Oh, I forgot to check in the file. To add the file to the project. I remember that. Where is that? It's not in the log? No, because I forgot for a few versions. I'll make searching in these versions a pain. Logistics render, but wait, the file isn't. Oh, because I forgot to check it in, so the file isn't even here. Fuck. Get. Not a fan. So which one did I add it? Oh, there, it's at the fucking top. Add logistics render.c. Yeah, so none of this will compile until I do that. So I can't binary search in here, because all the changes I made to logistics render are not checked in. So I only have the most recent version. All right, well, I can at least test this version and see that it crashes also. I think I already did when I did the stash. Takes a little bit. I'm not vacuuming, so it shouldn't be that. Inventory UI doesn't do a memory allocation, so it shouldn't be that. That should be all fine. Oops, that's the one I just looked at. Oh, I don't see anything in this. Oh, I didn't change that one. Oh, but it doesn't matter because I'm not currently using that version. Oh, it's malloc. Okay. None of these are getting freed, so it shouldn't be able to be them. So what would it be? these using OEG malloc like they're supposed to? Yeah. OEG malloc, OEGG free. I don't know. I don't know. I'm stymied in trying to find it. I guess I can use the assert functionality. Oh, excuse me. Let's put it into single-threaded mode. I don't remember how you do that. I don't know where the pound define for that is. Oh, it's a runtime variable, that's right. All right, let's not do it on the background. Let's see how that goes. And then turn this on. And it's fine. But it should still be doing the copy, I think. It still does the same code, it just sequences it differently, does it on the thread. This posts start and then waits for that. This one does non-logistics interaction, logistics do tick, logistics update, block queue process, copy logistics database. When you post copy start, boom, it gets to here, does a non-logistics interaction, logistics copy logistics database. Ooh, that's in a different order. Logistics do long tick, logistics update block queue process. Let's put them in the same order. Oh, because this is, yeah, this adds a tick of latency doing it this way. But it should be okay. It shouldn't make a difference to do that. Yeah, I don't think it makes a difference. So I can put it back. Okay, so there's some kind of threading interaction problem. Is somebody else reaching in across the thread? Or update mutex. Update block or queue. Which is a thread save queue. Did it get initialized? knit thread safe queue. Okay. And then this causes us to run it on that thread. And then these all do all sorts of allocations and destructions. Okay, we need to put that thing back. Single, multi-threaded. Single. No, it was multi-threaded. Can't find the multi. What? What was it called? On background thread. Oh, I found it. It dies right away, so it's not something that happens later. Alright, let's start calling OBBG and I'll check. That's why I put it in. Can only call it from one thread though. Can only call it does it thread safe itself? No. So actually that could just be the other thread is updating it while it's in here. In fact, are these thread safe? Yeah, they do this. So it just needs to be, yeah, that needs to be inside it too. Okay, it could just be this was bogus and is just because somebody else is touching the memory in the background. That needs to happen inside the lock. Yep, okay. It was just not a thread safe printer because the other thread could run while it was printing. All right. So, so the thing I want to check was that it's leaking. So like these things should all be going up. Like Logi, Pickerlist, thread. Oh no, right, because I've disabled that. Yeah, because I put that code back. Okay, so now I can put that code back. The copy. Oh, I have to apply. Yeah. So git checkout, whatever the most recent version is. C4. Okay, we're already on it. Git diff. We add the malloc check. Sure. We can keep that. And then git apply, git stash and apply. Okay, so then we switch back to this one, which puts them through the OBBG malloc. We're still not calling free, and we want to see that these things are leaking. The whole reason we did all that was in the hopes that we would actually be able to see this. This thread logic copy should be slowly climbing up. Here, right here, you can see these numbers going up. They go up pretty slowly because we're not actually using that much memory. You can see the belt one is the one that's going up the most. So after a little while here, I've leaked 1/4 meg. So if I go a little longer, I'll leak a meg. All right, we won't wait for it to get to a meg, but you can see it's leaking. Now we turn on the new code. Kill this. Turn on this new code. Oops, that comment sticks around. And hopefully it works and is also no longer leaking. So we see the thread copy belt here, and it's 2352. It's just going to be constant forever because it doesn't we're not the whole point of the animation stuff is that it doesn't ever have to do allocations in normal running. It's only going to allocate if we put down new blocks. So, all right. So, fixed the bug. Bad debugging. Spent the entire time investigating my bad debugging. The fix was in fact correct. All right. Open my camera, my microphone a little. So yeah, so here's where we are. We've got these things going. We've got these machines that take in various specific types and output other things. And so this one's outputting the white things. This one's taking some white things and some black things and making gray things, or bluish gray things. And this one's taking bluish gray things and white things and making pink things. And if I pick them up, they turn into conveyor belts. There you go. I picked up a bunch of conveyor belts because those are conveyor belts, the pink things. So what can we do today? I could put in placeholder art so everything doesn't look like ore on the belts. I could work on my task of making machines be 2x2, which is to give them room to look more like they're doing, have room in them to process all these different things they're picking up. I can take my pills. Well, at least we just got one thing done there. We could, I don't know, I'd have to look at my list. Could do lots of the little cleanups that we have put to-dos on and avoided doing because they're not fun for streaming. But if I'm going to do everything on stream, I kind of have to do them at some point. Could work more on the gameplay here of adding more machine types and stuff. I think I kind of came to a conclusion about what I wanted to do. We had this whole discussion about having configurable assemblers like Factorial has versus having these purpose-built machines where this machine can only create iron gears or whatever. And I think what I want to do is have, in the early game, the machines are specific built. You make machines to make iron gears and they're going to make iron gears and you can't make them do anything else. And then the later phase of the game is when you can create machines that are configurable and can create lots of different things. And that means in the early game you can't reuse things. When you change your mind about what needs to be built, you have to actually destroy and recreate them, which is tedious. But sort of forces you to commit in a way that's maybe interesting. And that in the later game stages, then you can do this more generic stuff. The other reason I want the machines to be 2x2x2 is because right now there aren't really enough I really need something that's more clear about the directionality. I guess that's done with overlays in see, now that one This one is working again, but it's only working by having its thing be backwards. Oh, these all have backwards for the outputs as well. Yeah, okay. Yeah, I need to fix that. Need some overlay that shows which direction the thing, whether it's a loader or unloader picker. What was I in the middle saying? I've already forgotten. 2x2 machines. Oh yeah, there's not enough places to load things on them. It just seems kind of awkward. On the other hand, 4 is plenty. Like 4, like if something needed more than 3 inputs, you would have to start feeding them in on both sides of the belt, and the thing needs to be able to pick up from both sides of the belt, which that's fine. The 2x2 machines, I think, is really mainly for the visuals, because I mean, I have no idea what these machines are going to look like. I haven't really tried to picture them, but it just doesn't visually look to me like if the machine were that big, there's enough room for there to be visible interest. All right, so one thing that I'd like to fix. Let me commit this. I never used OBBG malloc check, so let's just get rid of it. It could be useful in the future, but just not worth having it if I don't need it. So I'd like to clean up one thing, which is something I ran into, and I was like, I don't see the right way to fix it, which is logistics, the down marker. So let's search for down marker and see what we do with down marker. I'd like to just get rid of it. So if the all type is a down marker, then we know we have to update the one below it. All right. Is that it? That's all we do with down marker. What? Nobody else looks at down marker? That doesn't seem right. So the point of the down marker is that when you look at where a belt is pointing, when you have those ramp belts, what happens is you have this on one level, and then on the next level you have this increasing height belt. And when this belt is feeding this way, it looks here to determine whether or not there's something it's going to land on. But the target is actually up here. So I thought the way this worked is that it put a marker here. And then when this says, oh, I'm feeding to a marker, it sees there's a marker and knows to adjust it up. Except there's no other references to marker in here. Whatever that was called, down marker. So where would it, how does it, what does it do with the down marker? If I take this out, does it fail? See it over here. No, it doesn't fail. Does it fail on the way down? So maybe I put that in for that purpose and then never used it for that purpose. That'll make it a lot easier to remove than I was expecting. Okay, so where do we find, so this is an update chunk, something like that. So in the update chunk, we go through and we find our targets for everything. So we find our endpoint, which is E, X, E, Y, E, Z. And I don't see anything to handle the feeding onto a neighbor who's a ramp. The BNDZ is handling the case that the ramp itself is sloped. But if you're feeding onto a sloped ramp, your NDZ is 0. This should just be explicit. The target chunk, D is the target chunk. I don't see how that ever works. I honestly don't see how that works. No, really, how does that work? We just saw it work. Because it places it below. That's why. Okay. It actually places the thing down. It places the ramp at a lower Z level and has to go up. So, and it only does that for ramp up. So ramp down appears where it looks like it appears, which works correctly. Ramp up works by storing it low. And the markdown is just a marker to let you know it's there. Oh, what a mess. I guess I'm just not going to mess with it again. Now I remember why it's too hard to fix. Because the current trick works so well that fixing is a pain in the ass. All right. I guess that makes sense. Oh, I'm yawning again. Was that last time that I started getting yawning? answering a work mail real quick. All right. So so what of those things should I do? There's a lot to do. This is all not super high priority. Initial crafting tree. These are more general ideas. For Factorio-esque to do. Promises on conveyor belts, more splitter balancer variants, fast versus slow belts. Manufacturing tree, data drive it, expand it, better placeholder art. So 2x2 aux, animated machines, player inventory, more placeholder. What do I need more placeholder for the player inventory? Oh, because if I pick up those other things, those don't have, I have icons, I believe. Like iron gears don't have icons, so they probably are invisible or something. It doesn't pick up from here. I have to actually be on it. Yeah, it's not showing up. Yeah, it doesn't let you drag normally if there's nothing there. So that's an invisible thing that it lets me drag. All right, well, I guess I'll waste half an hour on drawing terrible art. So our data directory, we have sprites. So and I still haven't installed my real Photoshop, but I still have 6 installed. And get that window. Let's move these. Let's move these. Let's create an icons directory. Whoops. Put all the icons there. Let's fix the code. That's gonna be might be in logistics render. No, somewhere else is loading them. Main maybe. Don't remember who loads the sprites. Don't we have to express the path somewhere? Doesn't the path have to say sprites? Oh, it starts with data, right? In an UI render, all right. sprite file names. Okay, it's constructing these, so we can easily change that to go to icons. And since it's in the icons directory, we don't actually need it to be prefixed with icon. Let's leave it redundant. That's okay. All right. So we need some icons for some of these other things that we can't currently pick up. They don't need block types, though. They need icons. So how do these work? Sprite file names, sprite for block type. We really want sprite for item type. And these are actually icons now, not sprites. We'll leave this as load sprite, though. Yeah. So we actually want this to change to be sprite for item type. We don't want it to interact through the block types because some of these don't have block types. We'll keep that block type for item type around in case that's needed. We already have a sprite for item type. Oh, we need both. I see. Oh, right. Yeah, I know why. Yep. Okay, so these become icons for we do need that loop that we deleted from the end here, but we want to use it in the opposite direction. Something like this. And maybe at some point we'll change it and get rid of the block type dependency. But for now, it lets us have the creative mode that uses block types. Sprite for item type. Use icon for item type. Oops. All right. In theory, that refactoring. Am I using the wrong Kakata for what? For the physics? Okay, and then I forgot to change something somewhere. Load sprite failed. File name, data, sprites, icon arrow. Oh, that one's explicit. Some OR, which I indicate with OR blocks, which isn't actually accurate. Come on, give me my belts. Right, let's fast forward. Okay. I just picked up a belt, and it doesn't show up anymore. Okay. Conveyor belt, BT conveyor. Now for item type. Oh, these are block types. So yeah, I need to change these to there. What the names for these are, but we'll fake it. We won't fake it. We'll look it up. Oh, there are item types for all this. I didn't think there were. So that's a cold block. I don't think these need to exist. These should be double blocks. So only those should exist. And I'm not even sure they should be different types in the IT world, so to speak. And these should not exist in the block type world, in the item type world as well. I think they just all existed so I could translate between the two types. Why is that arrow? That's odd. Oh, because I needed something to put in there because there wasn't one. No, there is one. No, there isn't one. Okay. All right, that was all dumb busy work. Some of that work isn't even needed in the long run. It's just easier to get it into some known state and worry about it. One thing at a time. All right. Now, hopefully that will work. And then I want to get rid of this code. So I'm explicitly doing it as at start. IT conveyor belt. I think maybe. Sounds right. IT balancer. All right. have no idea what you're talking about, because you have absolutely no context for anything you're saying, and random formulas that don't mean anything because there's no context. And for all I can tell, you're just trolling. You're probably not, but you could be. Like, say a bunch of stuff that requires me to think about it, even though it means nothing. That would be a form of trolling. So I'm not going to think about it any further, because for all I know, it's trolling. Okay, that pickup did not pick it up. Oh, except it did. I can tell it did, because now it's asking me to place these. Although it doesn't actually use them up out of my inventory, because that's still the creative mode, which I need to fix. But it's not actually showing conveyor belts in the inventory. I need to figure out why. This should have worked, right? Item type, conveyor belt. Empty is 0. Conveyor belt is definitely non-zero. Then we're creating conveyor belts. All right, somebody should be creating these. Oh, in logistics. Output types. Oh, it's IT conveyor belt. So we're putting IT conveyor belts on the thing. We're definitely picking them up, because it then let me place them. So it recognized that they were IT conveyor belts. I'm not sure how that works when they're, the placement logic works from block types, doesn't it? Ghost. It's not called Ghost. UI rendering. That's drawing the ghost block, isn't it? Where's the ghosting? That wouldn't be a draw block, because draw block doesn't know it's a ghost. I'm not sure. I don't remember any of these things. What? That draws a yellow outlined box. That draws a block. I'm totally confused. All right, but anyway, so we picked the thing up. It's in our inventory. It's the right IT type. How does that let us place it? Is it just coincidentally the same type when you treat it as a block type? Or is it still placing using creative mode? And the placement thing wasn't a meaningful change. No, it's not offering me a ghost block now. It's only when I pick something up that it'll offer me a ghost mode. Now I picked something up and it still doesn't offer me a ghost mode because there's no ghost mode corresponding to that. And I pick that up and it's like third in my slots, so so maybe that one. Oh, I can't select it. How do I? There's that. Select it. Still no ghost. There we go. It was fourth. It was in my fourth slot. All right. So, are the numbers just coincidentally the same? Conveyor belt's pretty far down. 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, 11. Okay, variable is 40. No, they're not the same type. So I have code to deal with this. Place block. I don't remember writing the code, but I guess I did. Mouse down. No screen. Selected block valid. Change block to BT empty. Oh, yep. Creative, action bar, block type for item type. Okay, so we use that table. Okay, so that all makes sense. So the item type is correct, but the item type is not rendering anything. So we're having some trouble loading these. Okay, so wait, let's just go out of creative mode or into creative mode and see if that is displaying at all, or if I just broke all the sprites, which might be the case. Yeah, I just broke all the sprites. Okay. So I moved them. Into data, icons, etc. That looks correct to me. See if it loads. Oh. The guy who was asking the weird Runga questions left. And his name actually is not inconsistent with being a troll, although of course he might not have been a troll and just was offended I called him a troll, but whatever. So we get the name. Just print a data icons icon conveyor. Data icons icon conveyor. All right, I'm going to load sprite. And data is not empty. We return a texture for it. And then we'll assign that to icon file names of i.item type. Oh, these are backwards. Nice. Gold. All right. Now I expect this to work. Did I turn creative mode off? I think I did. So let's fast forward. Let's get down here and pick up a belt. Whoops. Too much speed. There's a belt. Okay. All right, so we're back to where we were after I did this whole thing. And so now I can start making new art and call them icons. And meanwhile, I want somewhere else to be loading the sprites. So let's search for or.png again. All right, so this is currently a place that's loading the only sprite we have. We'll need to actually create some proper sprite loading code. We're actually creating a 3D array for our sprites so that we can draw them efficiently. We don't do that for the icons. We maybe should do that for the icons. Not a 3D array, a 2D. An array of 2D textures. So that we can use a single draw call to draw all the sprites. And we could do that for the icons. We don't have that many icons to draw, so it's not that big a deal. And I'm just going to do the icons first, and we'll come back to the sprites. So we won't worry about it. All right, so what other icons did we need? Or maybe I should be doing the sprites, actually. Do the sprites first and come back to the icons. Right, I wanted you to be able to pick up the gears and those things. That's why I want to do the icons. Okay, so So let's get that list again. So here we have IT coal. So we have a coal icon. Iron ore. Copper ore. Iron bar. Iron gear. Steel plate, which we haven't actually made. Nor have we done copper ore. Okay, so then icons for these. Iron ore. Copper ore. Iron bar. Iron gear. Okay. What version of OpenGL am I targeting? I am currently just using a compatibility mode and using features of 3.1 or 3.2 and lots of old features as well. Or actually, I might be using something else. I don't remember when integer, when you get GLSL integer operations, but I haven't looked at it too closely. There just needs to be a cleanup pass where I'm more careful about that stuff. And maybe I'll be able to reuse the library I'm doing right now that includes some immediate mode stuff. I may be able to pull out some of that library and switch to something like Core 3.2 or 4.1 or something and use that stuff as to fix all the immediate mode stuff. But for now, I'm just using the compatibility. Okay, so where's this? Oops. Resize. All right. How big were these? I don't remember. Oh, I have one named Coal. It's a coal block. It is, where's my info? 32 by 32, okay. So let's call that a coal block. Rename it. And then we can go back to this. Probably have a work mail. Nope, okay. All right, so new 32 by 32. I have a clump of coal. this one so much. All right, and then iron ore. All right, and then copper ore. Iron bar. Good enough. Apparently that wasn't good enough. All right, there we go. The 1990 version of Photoshop is just because I can't find my install media for my new version. Or I think actually I found that I need to get the key off my old computer. And I just accidentally saved that over the ore. So I have to rebuild the ore. That's the icon iron bar. Now I have to find the icon copper ore. Paste that over this one. Delete that layer. Adjustments. There's some adjustments in this version. Image adjust. restore the iron ore. Back to the list. Iron gear. So let's first save it as iron gear, so we don't overwrite it. Stupid bad defaults. All right, so now here's our iron gear. I want it to be a little bit brighter. And then let's use that as the base color. Maybe like this. Now, at this angle, can we actually show the teeth very well? I don't know. I guess with shading. Those are like extending out too far. It'll have to do. And the steel plate we don't actually need. Let's just do it for completeness, because then when we add it, we'll be happy. Instead of mode switching. So make that brighter for steel. And it's just going to be that with a little dark trim. These are all placeholder art, so I don't really care about the quality. I just want it to be enough quality that I can tell what it is, and that the stream doesn't yell at me. It's not very straight. It should be metal, so it should be nice and perfectly straight. All right, good enough. So overwrite that. Let's do link.png. Oh yeah, great. I saved it ahead of time and that still didn't work. Let's make it a little brighter. Still can't save as, because the stupid as a copy is so broken. I think they got rid of that in the later versions, but I don't remember. I remember having less trouble with this. All right, so that's all the icons. The next step is to do sprites so they show up on the belt, but let's test this. Yes, the problem is if I'm the only artist, it doesn't matter whether the placeholder, how bad the placeholder art is, until you have an actual artist. All right, so if we pick this up, see what this is. Okay, those are iron bars. And we pick one of these up. How do I get up there? It won't let me move on there. I want to let me move on there. Oh, because the pickers are in the way or something. So you have to line it up just right. There we go. Okay, those are the iron gears. And these are the conveyor belts. Oops. Yep. All right, so we picked up some iron bars, some iron gears, conveyor belts. These should just be iron ore. And these are obviously coal. We picked up a lot of iron ore there. Need to do stacking in the inventory there so that we don't fill up our inventory like that. Oops, I accidentally hit flying mode. And these have no block type, so it doesn't let me place them. But that one does. I don't know why it doesn't highlight which one I have selected. Oh, it only does in this mode. Let's fix that while we're at it before we check in. Just so I don't forget. UI. So somebody is highlighting what? That's in inventory. The inventory screen rendering. Do UI rendering 2D. Inventory screen. Choice. Block choice. Okay, so that row, we want block choice. My screen none. Compute second to last value. It's a to-do. It is just a copy of that. Block choice. It doesn't actually require any computation. Okay, now I can select through them. That color background is not very good. Let's find the place that draws those. That's like it. Draw a UI row. So if we just make it a neutral gray. Maybe too dark. It's well kind of too dark, but maybe that'll be better. Well, not with these items. That's okay. Yeah, that looks a little better. All right. So, it's interesting that they're aligned different vertically, even though I just reused the same file. I don't know why that. I guess I moved one. Oh, because I cut and pasted it. That's right. When I had to reconstruct it. All right, so then I want to do sprites, so the in the world stuff is different. So we want to add some kind of sprite loading facility. And it's going to be very similar. To this stuff. It's just the pickers, but it's in voxel render that we actually. No, we sent the item types through, so it's still in main. All right, so we'll just leave it in main, where we do this, and put it up here. Sprite file names. Oops. And how big is the sprite text? 256. Is this actually 256 by 256 texture? I guess it is. Let's make it 128. Wait, why was this going 0 to 11? Those were becoming infinitely small. 128 shift right 7 is 1, right? No. Shift right 6 is 1. Shift right 7 is 1. 1 shift left 7 is 128. So 128 shift right 7. So this should only go up to 7. And then we say for I equals 0, I less than size of sprite file names. Sprite file names is 0. So I already had some attempt at this texture. Wait, did I just start editing the wrong part? No, okay, this had been cut and paste from the other thing. Where's the old code that, what was this? Oh, I see. Why did it pass that? Okay, that was just a bug that it had that code in there. It wasn't being used. And then the slot is sprite file names I.item type. What is it called? Sprite file names. Okay, so right, so I'm not going to do icon for because I'm just going to actually allocate one slot for every item type. So there's no mapping table. You just use the item type for your slot. You just use the item type as your slot, and it'll just be directly mapped. So then, to texture array, I assume the first one is which slot. Let's check. Load bitmap to texture array int slot. Okay. What is this doing? Oh, right, this is doing the downsize. Okay. Yeah, looks good. So our OR is white. So we'll actually just need to make variations of that for each of these things. Okay, so which ones do we need sprites for? We need variable sprite. Probably don't need any of those. We'll need a splitter sprite because you can build splitters, you can build furnaces, anything you can build. So you can't build iron and coal blocks. You'll be able to build those, be able to build those. Yep. Okay. So we need this for all these. And they're going to look terrible. Like, they're not going to look 3D at all. This Factorio can get away with this because it's top down. So we're going to have to deal with that problem. That, like, you know, a steel plate shouldn't be sticking up into the air. But it's the same thing that Minecraft does. And as I've said elsewhere, it's possible some of these should not be sprites and they should actually be 3D objects. Much as Minecraft draws its blocks as, when you have a loose block, it draws it as a little, it does draw it as a 3D cube. But this will get us started. So, some more dumb placeholder art. Okay. So let's save that. Not as a copy. God damn you. As coal. I need this on my screen. Coal. All right. And let's then do iron ore. Not as a copy. All right, and I need to make these 128 by 128. Wait, that's coal? I just darkened coal. Which one did I accidentally save that as? Neither. Okay. I don't know how that happened. Whatever. Coal. Save. All right. And then this should be a little brighter, I think. Let's save that as copper ore, not as a copy. Now I have copper ore and I can recolor it. Where's my, oh, my brush is tiny now. Whatever. There's copper ore. And we need things that we see on the thing. So iron bar. So let's get the iron ore. And I guess we should make the ores smaller, actually. Why can I not resize that? Control T. Come on, Control T. Why is... Why can't I... Why can't I transform that? Is it locked? No. Transform. Hello? I think I ran into this the other time and I don't remember what the fix was. Control T. What? Why can I not transform? Why do I not like, why am I not allowed to transform this? It doesn't make any sense. What is this editor doing to me? What could I possibly do that decides if I explicitly use M to do that, then will it let me do it? No, it still doesn't. All right, so it's in some mode where I can't do it. Transform. Now it lets me transform. But if I select the whole thing, it doesn't let me transform. Okay, now if I select the whole thing, will it let me transform? No. So as long as I have the whole thing selected, I can't transform it. But if I move it off center, then it lets me transform it. I don't understand you at all. Let's move that to be the center, then scale. All right. No idea why that doesn't work. All right, save the iron ore. No, we're a single layer now. I can still just save it as a PNG. I don't, why are you trying to save it as, no, not as a copy. Yes, you can see ways that Photoshop has improved. They fixed all this stupidity. All right. Is it going to be easier to remake coal out of this one than to try to go through that same transform nightmare? Let's check if we have the same transform nightmare. Yes, we do. If you select the whole thing, you can't transform it. I wonder if that's just a bug or if there is some modality problem. All right. Delete that layer. Oh, but now we'll try to save it as a PSD because there were two layers in it for a moment. Recolor it. Move it to the bottom. Let's actually move this one closer to the bottom. Because the layer is locked. Is that why? Why is the layer locked? The layer isn't locked. Look, it's not locked. Why do you think this layer is locked? Because it's the bottommost layer? This one's the bottommost layer, and it's not locked. Why is there this weird semi-locked thing? That was why I created a second layer, was to try to create a layer that wouldn't be locked. But since I duplicated it, duplicated the lockedness. What is that semi-locked thing? It's that. Why was that locked? I must have clicked it randomly, accidentally. I don't know. That was why I couldn't transform. Yeah, it is. Okay. All right. No, not PSD. No, not as a copy. I really got to get the other one installed. Save. That one just let me save it. All right. What's that? Now we want the iron bar. Needs to look okay from above and okay from the side. It's not really possible. Maybe I'm going to have to make two versions of some of these so that you can actually look at them from above and look at them from the side without it looking too weird. Like if you're looking at that from above, it's weirdly whatever, and if you're looking at it from the side, it's sticking up in the air weirdly. If it were just that from the side, then when you're looking at it from above, it would look like you're looking at it from the side. I don't think there's any good solution. It actually has to be at a Oh great, that got saved as a png.psd. Arrgh. And then one more, the iron gear. All right. So basically wants to be the same as the icon. And then that's a sprite, so it can't be clipped off the edge. So we got to actually shrink that a little bit. Oops, I only shrunk one layer. Now we need to fix that. All right. And need a smaller brush. And they should be changing shades, and I'm lazy. And it's placeholder art. Close enough. This one is kind of weird. It's down on the other side. All right, there's our terrible that. Now we need to hold the middle. All right, except it's shadowed. Darker than that. All right, I think we're done. We've done our sprites. They're gonna look terrible, so I may have to do something about the fact they're gonna look terrible. But it gives us something to start with. No, I just want to save it as a PNG. Oh, because I got layers. No, not as a copy. Save. Okay. All right, what are these called? Sprite name. Let's call it file name. And then we need to actually use it. So somewhere we're drawing these, draw sprites, sprite, render sprites. So we come in here, we do this, we're passing in SID, and we're coloring them. So let's just not color them and see if that works. Color 3FV. Because I think SID was, it must not be. We must be overwriting SID. So I'll have to fix that. So let's see where I'm setting that. What is S? It's a sprite. So that's getting done in logistics render. Sprite. Add sprite PI item. Okay, so add sprite is converting it. That might be back in main. Add sprite ID. And we don't need to update this anymore. And we get an exception trying to load the images. So one of these didn't load. Yep, because we didn't make it. All right. Oh, I'm about to test that right here. Skip No, let's go ahead and assert if they don't load, and let's comment out the ones that don't load. So we didn't make these. Oh, I forgot to check in my last change. Oh well. All right. Doesn't crash. I see stuff on the belts. Hey, look, it's putting iron bars on the belt. They're hovering strangely above the belt, whatever. They turn to face me. That's not too terrible. There's the gears. They don't stay on there very long, and they don't make any sense visually. So some things could be things I mark that they lay flat and they're just drawn from above, and it changes the perspective. Instead of being a billboard turning to face the camera, I could do that. Another thing I could do is put shadows under them, and the shadows would always be drawn flat in the plane of the conveyor belt. Also, I could just have two sprites. That doesn't actually seem like that bad an idea. One for looking sideways and one for looking above. And obviously, the transition there is ill-defined, but it's kind of funny that you can see they're above a little bit because they kind of, if we look at it from below, that's the case where they go nuts, is when you're looking at them from below and you're like, what? Why is that like that? And yeah, we don't have anything for the conveyor belts, but the gears we can look at from below. And it's just like, yeah, that doesn't really make any sense. And you can't look at them from below without, I was cheating by flying, but here, now I'm kind of from below. Well, that could be more from below. Doesn't look that bad because you don't really know what it should look like. I mean, it's clearly wrong, but it's not the end of the world wrong. So maybe that's okay. They would look better with a shadow. And if I try to bake the shadow into the sprite, it will make no sense at all. Like from below, you would see the shadow. So drawing the shadows might make sense. We can put the shadow into slot 0 even. Although it might need to be different sizes. All right, let's re-expand the whole idea of shrinking the ore turned out to not be necessary. So let's make the ore bigger again. Delete that. Oops, there's a little thing there. Select all, Control C. Oh, it's back to this. It just does that on load. Okay. Doesn't do that on create, but it does it on load. Control D. Thank you, Control T. Okay. Of course, we lost a little quality here, but whatever. All right. Save. Recent. It's a shortcut for recent. Copper ore. I'm not gonna bother with copper ore. I want coal. Turn off that. Save that. More. And then new 128 by 128. And let's do you, not you. That's you. Where's circle? There's no circle? Oh, what's that? Where's the bar for that? Oh, it's a window. Options. Is that open somewhere? I don't see it. That's just that thing. Where's the ability to set the... Oh, that's... Okay, I thought that was a rounded corner. That one's the rounded corner. All right. Turn on the grid. You can't turn on the grid. Alt Control. Okay, it's a different shortcut. That looks like there. It's gonna maybe there. Oh, that put an outline on it. Or is that just because it's still a shape? I think it's because it's still a shape. No, it actually did. Confusing. Why would it put a black outline on though? There was no black selected. Maybe it was just the still a thing. How do you there enter? And then filter, blur, Gaussian blur. Yes, please rasterize it. I wanted you to rasterize it anyway. Maybe like that. And then just to make sure it's 0 at the edges. I'll come along and do that. We'll save that as shadow. And then we'll load it. All right, and then when we draw these under sprites, we'll try drawing the shadow first. World space, so we just assign it as off.x equal apparently 0.5. So actually just do this. Let's actually just do this. Then we just need the same stuff. But now it's S off becomes shadow S off. T off becomes shadow T off. And we actually want to move the Z down a little bit, but I won't do that yet. Then we go like this. And I need to turn blending on or something, or there's something. I'm drawing the wrong sprite. No, it's drawing it centered on the thing instead of on the ground. Okay. Right, because we try to reposition it to be centered. So let's get rid of that repositioning to be centered in logistics render. Right there. Is that the only add sprite? Probably is. Oh, no. There's this one. It doesn't add the 0.75. 0.175, whatever that was. Yeah, 0.175. Ah, it adds it here. But it was adding a different amount. Interesting. So draw the shadow. Now this will be in the same plane, so it actually needs to be offset a little bit, or actually use polygon offset. But since we're drawing them in a big batch, I guess we can do this. Of course, you don't get polygon offset without compatibility mode. GL polygon offset, is that what it's called? Something like that. Oh no, I need to set it back. I didn't balance something. Yeah. I think I might be in alpha test mode, which would also prevent that from working. Okay, so now I forgot to push them back up. And the polygon offset actually isn't enough. 2, 2. So alpha test sprites is set to 1. Okay, so this code goes down here to alpha test the sprites. But this code just wants to do this. And then these are not being raised up at all. And then these SF pause dot z plus equal SF size over 2 plus 0.05 maybe. Okay, and now because so the polygon offset still isn't working, and then they're sorting wrong. Why are they sorting wrong? The alpha test was supposed to prevent that. So is the alpha test not on? It is on. So how does that keep them from sorting correctly? The GL depth mask is false. Why was I saying that to false? Because that path was setting it to false. And then that was saying it's true. Okay. So when I forked that stuff, I didn't quite do it right. All right, so the shadow, as I said, is still wrong. That's a nice, I obviously have another call to add sprite I forgot to fix that causes them to all levitate. Polygon offset is clearly not doing the job here. Maybe I have to enable it. Doesn't seem like it. I have to enable polygon offset fill. All right, now that's reasonable, but it needs to be scaled bigger. And they're being lifted up too high. I don't know why. So this needs to be bigger. So we'll make it 1 and 1. I may need to make it softer. Yeah, why are they harsh-edged? It's supposed to be soft-edged. It's like it's not actually doing the alpha blending right. Blend func, enable blend, depth mask disable. What? It's pre-multiplied. Doesn't matter because it's black anyway. How is that not? Because alpha test is never disabled. Then maybe I don't need to scale it up. That may have been because of the alpha test being wrong. Does this actually extend off the edge? It might. It looks very SSA-ish. It's like too much. So let's put it back to 0.5. It might need to be different for different sprites. There's that whole resizing thing that I'm not even making use of that lets me size each one independently. Okay, that's kind of subtle shadow, but that probably is what it needed. I still need to fix that add sprite call. Let's check over here where we have different objects. See them all hovering with little circular shadows under them. Yeah, maybe you need different size shadows depending on the object. Take a look at the gear. Yeah, the gear shadow is too small. I still don't have conveyor belts, but you can see their shadows. Yeah. So yeah, I think they do need to be different sizes for different sprites, but whatever. It's probably good enough for now. What do I need to do? Oh, find those add sprite calls. I didn't finish searching for that. All right, so this is the regular one. This is the turn case, I think then. Yeah, this is the turn case. Where's their Z from? Z. Z, still adding 1.125. Now that might mean that one of the things I deleted I shouldn't have then. Yeah, this one. AZ plus equals. This is when it was going up a slope. Is there a reason why I need to add a little extra? I guess I need to go look at them going up a slope and see if it looks wrong. Aha. Yep, they need a little boost when they're up a slope so they don't stick into the ground. And I need to smooth that in the transition, but whatever, someday. Where was that in the code? Plus equals base Z. That's a picker. That's not even the right. Oh, I changed it from. I messed with the one that's in a picker. The ones in the picker should not have a shadow. So I'll need to tag that. So maybe this was always true, and I just didn't notice it. Because that's depends on NZ, and I don't see. Where's the dependency on NZ? NDZ, rather. Where do I rely on NDZ? Here we go. If NDZ is greater than 0, and it's going up, so you want to add a little bit. If it's going down, you probably want to subtract a little bit. Let's check. Down, 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 oh, right, I want the slopes. Yeah, they do pop up when they do it, but it's okay. And then when they go down, I'll actually need to slope the shadow when they're going down too. So it's just getting clipped off now. That's okay though, I can live with that for now. Let's make it less extreme for now. I have to come back to it. All right, so CD data, C sprites. Will change in Git 2.0? What does that even mean? Are we in Git 2.0 and this is a stale thing, or is it warning you about what will happen in the future? Ignores paths you remove from your working tree. Well, it's going to figure out that they're renames, right? Like, I can just ignore all of that. And it wasn't clear that actually, okay. So if I do a git status, does it figure out that, yes, it figures out that those are deletes, not renames. I don't know. Very mysterious. Oh, but it didn't add them as the, which is what it was telling me. Git add all will also let you record the removals, but I don't want, I want you to detect that they're renames. Who knows? Cannot tell. Oh well. Aha. When I told it they were removables, then it detected it. Why is my head detached? No, seriously, why is my head detached? I thought I thought I pulled things back up to the most recent version and then applied my stash. Yes. C42 is the... Oh, it's the head on GitHub. I don't know what the local head was. You're right, because I checked in a version. I did check in a version. So what... I have no idea. It's about master origin, though. Oh, because I was detached and pointing to the most recent thing rather than being attached, because I never remember how to get back from the detached state, because they always warn you you're detached and never remind you how to get back out of the detached state. It's perfectly fine to do normal work with a detached state. You just have to keep track of what you are doing to avoid having to fish dropped history out of the revlog. Great. Thanks for telling me that. What do I have to keep track of? Okay, get status. Okay, it all looks fine. I don't actually need to do the -A because I did it all manually. Yep. Did I do anything else? I don't remember. UI. I did some minor tweak, fix the UI. Draw. Something like that. it's all fine. All right, so enough of that, enough of that, enough of that. Okay. So that was more placeholder here. Boy, this is taking a long time just to do that. Did one other thing. I did some of that. I did some of that. I don't really feel like doing any of these things. Hmm. Yeah, I've never learned to do branching in Subversion or in Perforce. I only use Git because it's the thing to use with GitHub, and I use GitHub so that the STB libs have a place for people to post issues and pull requests. And I figured OPBG should just go ahead and be the same way, even though it's not really in a state where it needs pull requests and stuff. So is there some other task I could work on, something unrelated to this stuff? Just I don't really, none of this is appealing to me at the moment. Started that. Maybe let's smooth the camera height when stepping up. How about that? So there's this whole thing where when you walk around and you step up a block, it just teleports, and then it goes down smoothly because that's physics is moving you down. But physics can't move you up smoothly because it detects that you won't fit and it just teleports you up. So it's too late for physics to move you smoothly up. What you need to do, there are two possibilities. One is you could do sort of Minecraft auto jump, which I assume actually anticipates you're going to get too close and jumps before you get there. But the other thing you can do is just smoothly move the camera up when you teleport up. So we gotta find the place where we teleport up. Physics set player coord obviously changes a player's coordinate. And yet that's not what gets called, okay? Physics move walkable. So somewhere in here, we're going to step Z up by 1. I guess it's this. These seal Z's. Up is false. Step up is true. True. Then on this side, previous position is currently in contact with the ground. Oh, here's the step up. Oh, this is a falling up. Okay, but probably want the same behavior when it's discontinuous like that. There's this actual step up. All right, so then if step up pause Z equals so we need some other variable, I think, here. Structs interpolate Z step up Z arrow Z equals pause Z arrow T equals 0. If step up, then if IZ arrow T is 1, we can update it. Otherwise, we leave it alone because that is actually we have an old interpolation that we're still applying. I think that works. And then that goes into data. Object interpolate Z. We only actually need it, well, you'd want to see other players move up smoothly too, so we better have that there too. It's only for players, so if we had somewhere that was players only, like here, if we had a player data players player object max, then we would put it inside this player data. But we don't have one now, and I'm not going to bother creating it now. I can refactor that later. Because the players have a different kind of physics. Objects that are sliding will never bounce up a block. And this is only because we try to have that auto step up. If we made you jump explicitly like Minecraft used to, we wouldn't need any of this code. So when we create a player, we need to set yz.t to 1. That's a little weird. It would be cleaner if that could be initialized to 0. So we'll make it be a t that lerps from 1 to 0 instead of lerping from 0 to 1. just so that that's a little seener. So then this means that if it's only if it's 0, then we get to set it to 1. All right. So then when we go to display stuff and we want to know what the player's height is, here's something that looks at the player's height. Oh, it's counted out. All right. Player's vacuuming looks at the player's height. We'll cheat that one. Render objects. Just uses regular position. Although if it's a player, it should actually interpolate it. So Z of option I. Void or float fake Z of what is the type of object? If 0, oh, we can just use it. Turn has to be lerp 1 minus obj t. So we lerp between. I guess we do it this way. If it's 0, we want the real position. And if it's 1, we want the fake position. And we just only use this for rendering. And then we still also have to tick it. So position, camera location. Yep, that one definitely wants it. What's called fake Z. And we probably need to extend that. We have a missing curly brace. Oh no, it's the name of that is wrong. What did I call it? Interpolate Z. That's not wrong. Interpolate Z. What's the error? Declared formal prep. Oh, yeah. Physics move walkable. Physics move walkable. Interpolate Z. Oh, I already have something called IZ. Whoopsie. And if you go up twice really fast, it's going to kind of screw up. And I'll have to figure out the right thing to do for that, which I know what it is. Float. Curve Z equals fake Z. I can't pass in the object because I don't have the object here. So I need fake Z to actually take the pause and the lerp Z. And that takes that. Z. So that takes the vec pause and the thing, which means this takes that, that, and that. And I need a better name for that. Fake Z call it smooth V for rendering. So this is smooth Z for rendering. And it now takes position dot IZ. Well, let's just do one of them. Dot position d dot IZ. Oh. Z for rendering, solip Z. Physics walkable, now needs to take address of O, IZ. And then we need to take it. Float DT. All right, so first thing we do is we say if obs of O arrow IZ dot T. Oh, arrow IZ dot T minus equals DT dot T is less than 0. IZ dot T equals 0. Boom. Who knows? Did I forget something? Quite possibly. Okay, so now it should take 1 second, which is too long for it to go up. Yep, like that. And then if I step up multiple times, I should remember all of it. It doesn't seem to be. It seemed to be doing weird stepping as I went. Oh, because I didn't. I know why. When I do that fig Z, or it's not called fig Z anymore. Step up no longer needs to be this. If it does not equal 0, then we get where we currently should be, and we start a new one from there for 1 second. All right, check that. Nope, it's still just popping up every time. Did I change that the wrong way? Oh, it's not if it's not equal Z. What is it? If it's just always? Eventually it should catch up. Yep, it did. Okay. Okay, so now I just need to make it go up faster, which is right here. How long should it take? Time to move up, to step up, to move head up after step up. And actually, let's look at how long it takes to step down. It's like 1 or 2 tenths of a second. Right, that didn't, it needs to go in the other direction. It needs to be a divide by. This is a time you're trying to get, the units need to cancel. So you turn it into a unitless interpolate parameter. Okay, that's a little bit faster than a step down. And obviously it's linear instead of having a smoothing at either end, which is something I can add. Okay, so let's make it take just a little longer. Maybe 2, now 2.5. 2.5 might be too long. It's not that bad. And it'll become faster when it It'll move a little faster when I add the curve. Okay, so then what's the name of that function? Smooth Z for rendering. I don't remember which file that's in. Okay. So now we want this to be a curve. And we want it to be slow down at the end, except actually the end is this end, which is a 0 end. So we just want that. A little quadratic, which is actually the same shape as gravity would be. There you go. That's a little nicer. Maybe still too fast. Let's try a little slower. Yeah, that seems reasonable to me. It might be better to actually have it overshoot a little so that it feels like you jumped up instead of just somehow moved up magically. Now the whole thing is that if you actually saw this from outside, the feet will go through the ground because you're moving this diagonal path and you teleport up and then smoothly loop instead of teleporting up. So like the movement would be like you get to here where you get to the point where you collide and then you teleport up. And so it turns that into a smooth motion. Like if you're going very fast, it turns it into that. And so during that whole thing, your feet are through the ground. But whatever. I could do the auto jump style thing that Minecraft does, but so that's a nice little minor quality improvement that really changes the feel of it. Wow, that was a lot of changes. All right. I think that was in the to-do, actually. That's where I got that from. Yep. All right. What else could I work on? Maybe I'll take a break for lunch. It's been 3 hours. So the whole reason for that polygon offset is you can see if I get really low that the shadows, no matter how close I get, the shadows are still on the belt, whereas you can start to see that the objects are actually hovering above it. And so that polygon offset is how I draw things directly on the belt, but it offsets the Z values for Z buffering to prevent it from causing issues. Wow, those are going real fast around that corner. Maybe I should expand that. That's these numbers at the top. Where are they? It used to be called long run and short run. It might still be called that. I might have changed their name. Long side. Oh, it's not in this file. It's in the data file. So what happens if I make these two? I seem to remember I tried this and didn't like it. It looks better in terms of the movement. They don't race around the corner now. I think there was a problem once they were packed tightly. I think they looked a bit worse packed tightly or something. I don't have them anywhere else. That looks reasonable to me. I'm not sure why I changed that. I mean, they look a little slalomy, which I think means they're not really quite solid on the stuff. But I mean, partly that's because that frame rate for that animation is very low. All right, here we can see them getting backed up on the corner. Looks okay. I guess they should actually be bumping into each other so that they look like they're being stopped by each other. So everything actually needs to be full width so that they'll do that. But whatever. It's a video game. Doesn't have to be exact. Why no slopes for ground blocks like the conveyors? Blocks are pretty tall. Smoothly walking up on them is a bit jarring. Well, which is why I just added smoothing, but there are blocks like that. I'm not generating them in the generator. That's just nothing here is final, so the terrain generation is nowhere near the actual terrain generation. Whether I actually want them to be slope blocks or not, I don't know. Maybe it's a mix of maybe rocky stuff should be blocky and grassy stuff should be smooth, something like that. But there aren't enough block types necessarily to actually make all this terrain smooth. Like because you need like a corner. If this is sloping down and this is sloping down, you'll get a gap between them here. And so you need like weird joining blocks, and it's actually possible to do that with STB voxel render, but not in the, I believe I've not enabled that mode in this, and I don't think I want to. It requires a lot of extra data that's going to potentially slow down the mesh builder. And it still was an open question about what scale I want this to be. Like it could be that I can make the scale be more like this is your walking height, at which point it will seem a little less weird. Which is part of why I want to make the machines 2 by 2 by 2. Make the machines bigger, then I can change the scale a little bit and have you be taller. One of the many reasons why I want to do 2 by 2 by 2 machines. Maybe. I mean, I might go in the opposite direction. I might say, no, you're really tiny. But yeah, so I think I'll stop for lunch. I don't know though, because I kind of don't want to do any of these things still, and so I should figure out if there's something I'm going to do, because if maybe I just want to quit if I don't really feel like I'm going to feel like working on it. This is already done. I have that. Make sure we rebuild if we change a block while we're already rebuilding. I don't really know what that means because we don't do that stuff. Like all that stuff is synchronous, so you always have finished rebuilding by the time you make a new change. Some busy work. Yeah, I don't really want to work on any of those. Yeah, I think I'm just gonna say I'm not feeling it today. I'm just gonna stop. I mean, we got some useful stuff done. But between this, the yawning, and the not really feeling like any of this stuff. What I may do is I'm gonna try to get some of the old stuff uploaded because I still haven't uploaded a lot of the videos because one of them got messed up, and so I've kind of been putting that off till I can fix that, and maybe I'll just upload everything that didn't get messed up. So I'll still do some OBG work, but I'm not going to do that on camera because it's mostly sitting and waiting for a file to upload to YouTube for 2 hours. But at least then I'll be getting something done with OBBG rather than totally not making progress. Never recompute mobility in between ticks, blah, 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 blah. That's actually probably done at this point because I never now update blocks in between ticks. I only do the updates on the ticks. So it's probably, well, it's probably not doing it correctly. It's probably running. I need to recompute. It's still, all the code probably exists, but it's probably ready to happen because I could just run it at the beginning of the tick and at the end of the tick. That's game design stuff. Yeah. Maybe improving the procedural generation would be a fun thing to work on. Yeah, and it's just hard. It's really tweaky, and it's not the kind of tweaky stuff that I'm that good at. So it's hard for me to get reasonable aesthetics out of that stuff. There are other people who are much better at that kind of stuff. And I did work on it, optimizing it a little bit a couple weeks ago. And so I don't really, and so now you have to kind of keep up the optimization. You can't really do slow stuff. But yeah, and so for me, that's actually not very fun because it's so hard to get quality out of it. And it is something I'll do. Eventually, I will come back to it. But yeah, I think I'm basically just not really in the mood. I maybe just am not in the mood to program. I don't know. I'll have to see. But so yeah, I'm going to stop here. And so it's a short for the Friday streams. It's pretty short. It's not that or the weekend streams. It's pretty short. You know, it's always possible I'll feel more interested in it tomorrow or something and do some more streaming this weekend, but maybe not. Who knows? And I will try to get those video uploads. I'll try to work on that today. But I think that's it. So thank you for watching, everyone, and see you next time if you can make it next time. And if not, they'll all be on YouTube as always once I upload them. All right, that's it. Thanks for watching. Bye.